let me share with you the success story of a country that has made remarkable progress in raising the quality of education and advancing toward the fulfillment of SDG 4. Can you guess which country I'm talking about? I will give you a couple of seconds to reflect on it. Well, many of you might have first thought about Scandinavian countries, often praised for their excellent schools. Maybe some of you might have even guessed that I was talking about Singapore, which is known for its outstanding results in international education rankings. Maybe China? But in fact, the country I have in mind is Vietnam. This populous Asian nation has achieved a great deal in recent years by restructuring its education system and rethinking how learning is delivered to its people. Look at this graph. Vietnamese students perform much better in math tests than those from countries with a similar GDP. According to World Bank data, Vietnamese students score higher on aggregate learning assessments than their peers in Malaysia and Thailand, and even outperform students in much wealthier countries such as Britain and Canada. The Vietnamese government showed its commitment to education by raising public expenditure from roughly 1% of GDP in 1990 to about 3.5% in 2006. Vietnam has made the best use of technological advancements and the spread of the internet. Today, 9 out of 10 schools across the country are connected to the internet. Nearly 36% primary schools have disability-friendly infrastructure. Today, the primary school completion rate in Vietnam is over 98%, higher than the national target of 97% for 2025 and close to the national target of 99% for 2030. These efforts are paving the way for a more equitable and sustainable future. Obviously, as some studies show, there are multiple factors that have contributed to this success story. First, Vietnam has long focused on improving primary and basic literacy education. The government emphasizes equity, which has helped achieve high and fairly equal learning outcomes. Second, Vietnamese students tend to work harder. They skip fewer classes, are less often late, and spend as much or even more time learning in school. On top of that, they devote substantial extra hours to studying after school. While in class, they are generally more disciplined and focused on their studies. Third, Vietnamese teachers work under close supervision from principals and school authorities. This seems to create stronger alignment between hardworking students and their teachers. Fourth, parents also play an important role here. They combine high expectations for their children with active involvement in their education. They follow up with teachers and contribute directly to school life. Additionally, Vietnam has aligned its student assessment with international standards and used the results to improve testing and move toward competency-based evaluation. This shows that achieving the sustainable development goal in education requires coordinated effort at all levels, from individuals and families to teachers, schools, and the government. Although Vietnam might indeed serve as an example of how to successfully modernize, reform its education system, there is still a lot to be done. Inequalities in access to education remain evident, particularly among children from ethnic minorities, low-income families, and those with disabilities. This graph shows that the Early Childhood Development Index for ethnic minority children fell from nearly 65% in 2011 to around 63% in 2020. Therefore, the government will need to intensify its efforts to tackle the remaining last-mile challenges in education. Competency-based teaching also needs clear guidance and support. Higher education and lifelong learning requires more investment to meet labor market needs. The tertiary system faces funding gaps and weak strategic planning. This is essential to ensure that all children and youth, including the most vulnerable and disadvantaged ones, such as those from ethnic minorities, have access to quality and inclusive education, in line with SDG 4. Providing targeted support and resources will be critical to bridging those gaps and ensuring that no child is left behind. Thanks for watching, and let's keep working together toward quality education for all. Thank you very much. you.